Okay, guys, so welcome you all to our collective calls. So we hold on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Today's Thursday, and we got two projects for you today to present the pitch deck, to discuss some questions, Q&A and stuff, how we usually do it. So yeah, introducing ourselves. My name is Ivan and Malika. We are hosting today's meeting. And as I said before, we got two projects today. Let me introduce them real quick. So firstly, we got a project called Songs, represented by Gordo. And also, we had a co-founder at EOALabs, Tim Davis, joining us. So it's a pleasure, guys, having you all today. And let me brief you through the rules of our call, how we usually do it. Firstly, the speaker has 5 minutes for the pitch part and about 10 minutes or so for the Q&A section. For your convenience, we'll allow timer to keep track of time. And if you have any questions to our speakers or to everyone, just feel free to leave them in the chat or raise your hand. That will be way more convenient. And yeah, be sure to check your camera settings, your screen sharing settings. Thank you so much for coming. And yeah, let's start with Gordo. So if you don't mind, please go ahead. Yeah, thank you so much for coming.
It's okay. If you hear me, it's completely okay for me. The only point is I have two screens.
Now
so I will try to just go up. Whatever that, feel free to interrupt the pitch during any time if you have any question. And just for us, it's really important to as well go direct into any potential doubt that you may have. So yeah.
That was great. So
Guayaba is as well my co-founder in order for you to understand. So yeah, it's pretty nice that you guys are here. So first, thank you for letting us jump into this. We are in a really interesting phase in songs, and so let's jump into it. Essentially, songs is what we consider the next generation layer for the music industry. Okay, the goals, the main areas and goals for songs is just simplify and open the music industry to everyone, and increase the liquidity and market of the whole music industry because it's a really closed ecosystem. What you need to understand from songs is that it is a full suite designed for all the stakeholders in the music industry. Specifically for music, it's a royalties tokenization layer that will permit anyone to participate of those. A legal and metadata standard that will permit any stakeholder in the music industry to participate out of that. And an arbitration layer that will be able to dispute and manage the capital disputes on top of those metadata standards that the music industry manages. For artists and labels, it's a super easy system in order to sell and earn money out of their music. To distribute as well in the same platform to more than 40 different streaming platforms, Spotify, YouTube Music, and so on. All of those are streaming platforms. To finance your project via funds liquidity, not just specifically with your own funds. And for funds, it's just a funny and interesting system in order to buy and sell music royalties and to invest directly into artists. And of course, earn money doing that. This is not a project we are launching right now. It's a super long-term aspect that we started in mid-2023 out of a simple question between Guayaba and me, in which we're thinking about why NFTs didn't work for music. And why it was that. It started just out of curiosity and with our own conversations, going deeply into this simple question, understanding all the complicated aspects regarding the music industry. In order for you to understand our profile, we are two different profiles. Guayaba is specifically focused on it's a deep profile on the music industry, and me, I'm a deep profile on the Web3 in the Web3 ecosystem. Both of us are the other's passion. So suddenly we have a really interesting package here that permitted us to think extensively about the caveats and the problems of both worlds and how to create a viable solution for that specific. Something that I didn't mention before. Before jumping into what was the company, we started to ask and question every other tryout that had happened in the market and every of our industry professionals regarding what it was tried before and what it was a failure, what it wasn't. We are deeply in contact with past projects in the Web3 ecosystem that tried to bring viable solutions for music. So we are deeply testing step by step all this research that we've been doing during this time. What you need to understand is right now, a month ago, we launched the public beta of what Songs is, all this research. was consolidated into the first step of the project, which is like the public beta. Essentially, the underlying protocol and the first app, which permit artists to like everything that I mentioned before. So far, so good without any investment in marketing, or we achieved like 300 users registered, around 65% return, because it has a deeply return aspect, because you need to go back in order to manage your music, that in order to start generating revenue with your music. More than 170 verified artists, more than 200 songs already created in the protocol, and songs, more than like 114 of those songs already published and generating revenue on those streaming platforms. And the vast majority of like requests are coming from artists that are asking us to bring their catalog from other Web2 distributors, which is like a concept that we minted regarding like a Web3 distributor, in order to bring their music into our distributor. You'll know what the distributor is a little bit later. So in order to understand the details of songs and the nitty-gritty behind all this app that is already up and running, you need to understand like underneath this piece is the protocol I mentioned before. The protocol is like segmented into 5 pieces, like the distribution oracles, the industry wrappers, the legal on-chain aspect, and the tokenization layers that will permit like people to participate. The distribution oracles are like the ones that brings the value and the money generated from the music into the protocol. Essentially, we are the first one, and we created the layer in order for others to participate. These industry wrappers is that something that we start like pioneered. Well, at least we consider we pioneered. It's like, how should it be the Web3 technology serving the industry and not the other way around, not trying to push the industries in order to use the Web3 technology. So we created a wrapper that is designed for the music industry, and another like tokenization name that it's designed for the music industry, what we call Songster. Essentially,
I was already up, so we got 30 seconds left. Okay.
Fuck. Okay. So essentially, we created a rapid sound, Songster, and we changed from this distribution system into this distribution system in order to permit like a simpler access to every stakeholder in the music industry regarding metadata and like capital. Well, I'm not gonna go into details. If you wanna like know more, we can exchange with you any kind of detail of the project later on. We are like doing a seed round right now, as an angel round. Sorry. We are like looking for tickets. So any question whatsoever, it's welcome.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
We already received a couple of questions, so you can expand like further topic answering them. So yeah, first one goes like this: how do you plan to handle large-scale adoption, especially if major artists and their fan bases jump on the platform all at once?
Oh, well, that would be amazing if that happens, that first one. And we will be able to handle that load up, if that's the first the question. And how to do that, we are going to go step by step. First, in starting for the emerging artists and all the long tail, we are going to start like, this is our picture, and we are going to start with all this part, and suddenly, which is the easier part in order to achieve, and we can provide a super way more interesting experience that all these competitors. It's already done and it's already happening. We are literally stealing users from DistroKid right now, and we are bringing catalog from DistroKid. So the strategy is to provide value for all these people, provide a better experience, lower costs, because we are like giving 100% of revenue, and these other distribution companies do not give that percentage, because we intend to earn money with the trading of those songsters.
Okay, hopefully that answered the question. We got a raised hand from Lami, so please go ahead, ask your question.
I'm Jim, everyone. Scrolling through the platform, I've been able to see that, okay, artists can benefit, but as fans of maybe some artists, how do we benefit from the platform, and what should we look out for on the project?
Yeah, as fans, the good thing is that you are like offered the possibility to do not like support an artist by buying some merch or buying another vinyl. So you can directly buy a piece of a song, and you will be able to earn money when you buy that piece of a song. So you have the possibility of support directly, in, like literally investing, and by investing on top of a song, you will earn like distribution royalties when those like earnings happen, and everything will happen there in the app. When you log in into the app, your account is already there with your like abstracted wallet part of that, and when you buy a Songster, that Songster will represent part of that specific earnings. I don't know if I responded to your question, but the experience of buying a Songster, I can promise to you, it's really interesting, because it gives you a nice, when you hear a song that you like and you want to support that artist, the possibility of like supporting the artist by investing into that artist it is something that has been limited only to music labels and specific fans like having that possibility as a fan, it's really amazing. It's very interesting.
Okay, now to other questions. We got two of them left. How does the protocol ensure that both artists and fans benefit financially in a way that's transparent and easy to manage?
Okay, well, the protocol itself, it's transparent, as it's the very basic of the protocol. So everything will be open. And it's the first time that a distribution earnings will be transparent. It's something that in the music industry, it's really close and really opaque in many aspects. That's one of the main pillars of this project. We created the incentives. Our goal is to create incentives and the game theory behind in order to every stakeholder in the music industry to be incentivized in order to use the protocol, because it's cheaper, easier, and faster in order to access that metadata and potential profits. So yeah, it is transparent by default. If the plan happens and other distributors join the protocol by those incentives that we put it there, then it will be there. You will be able to see transparently how much each song has been performing in terms of royalties and in terms of Songster sales. So one of the many interesting aspects that I was mentioning, that I was going to mention afterwards, is that it creates an interesting layer on top, that prediction markets can be built on top of the songs itself. Thinking's about like freelance platforms can be built on top of Songsters, because suddenly music can exchange Songsters in favor of music services, mastering, mixing, so on. So it's not like you can have like the same share that a company offers you at the very beginning of a company in exchange for like equity or like a advising, but traduce that to music in a super open, liquid like market.
I see, thanks. We got third question. With music royalties now treat like currency, what's the biggest challenge in getting traditional labels and distributors on board?
Wow, that's a good one. The plan with us, if the very basics, the step one that we are like bringing into the market works, is that we will create the first open source tech stack for distribution that interacts directly with the protocol in order for any other distribution company to use the tech stack and provide direct connection with the protocol. It could be via an API, and like it could be just that, but we will offer completely open source. The other part, could you repeat the question completely?
Yeah. What's the biggest challenge in getting traditional labels and distributors on board?
Yeah, and labels, it is something that we know it's a long-term sales cycle, because you need to offer like provide proper trust, and you kind of like messed up with the catalog of a label, which is the main source of income. But as I mentioned in this slide, these labels are completely dependent on distributors, because the distributors are the one who pay the labels, and the labels are who pay the ones. So essentially, there are many labels that like their legal relations happen specifically with a distributor. This slide, I didn't mention it before, but we are a specific type of distributor that wasn't working before, that permits the label to interact with the protocol, and we will make that relationship to them. At some point, we will have an admin panel for a label specifically designed for those in order to manage their catalog directly with all their songs and with all their songsters, in order for them to risk off liquidity directly into the protocol via their fans or other fans. Fans, what I mean, like fans buying catalog, like large swaths of catalog, in order to So it's a system for all three: distributors, labels, fans, individual artists, and in the very the launch future, if we are able to literally tokenize large amounts of catalog, funds will be able to buy directly.
Thank you so much, Gordo. I think that's time. Guys, if you want to connect with our speakers after the call, you can find all the contact details here in the chat. And yeah, thanks for the great pitch. Now we have Tim Davis, co-founder at EOALabs.
Okay. Hey guys, my name is Tim Davis, founder of EOALabs. We are essentially an infrastructure provider for transactions on-chain. We focus on on-chain settlements, and we focus on making sure transactions are sent at the lowest cost, the fastest speed, and with the least latency. So our mission, our vision is essentially to make sure that transactions are very transparent, decentralized, and also allow users to have the best on-chain trading experience. So, our mission is to empower DeFi with AI optimized transaction tools, making the blockchain faster and more accessible to users. So I'm just going to go through my deck, our team. So I'm founder and lead strategist, early crypto investor, got into crypto in 2017. And one of the issues I had when I was trading was the fees. I remember sending a transaction for $3,000 and the fees were like $700. This is like, I'd say 2020. And that really annoyed me. So I said to myself, I want to fix this issue. I want to have an opportunity to build something that would tackle this issue. So I did some research in 2020, got to about 2022, and I said to myself, okay, I want to actually solve this problem in real time. So I got a team together and we built an MVP. So we actually have a live MVP on chain. We've sent over 2,000 transactions with a daily trading volume of $1 million. And this was verified on the Ethereum blockchain. If you go to our website, you would be able to see our results. And lucky enough for me, I was able to partner up with a team with great experience. So we got Wesley Cook, Michael, and Nicholas, who have years of experience from TradFi, who've just transitioned into blockchain. And we've been able to set up a great team looking to tackle this problem. So again, the problem, what's the problem? Trading fees, delays, and exploitation risks. I think one of the biggest issues we've seen on the Ethereum blockchain is, I'm not sure if anybody knows what MEV is. MEV essentially is a type of transaction that allows exploiters to profit from users' transactions, which obviously leads to bad execution for users. So it's a very big issue. Over 1 billion has been lost to inefficiencies, and that's just on Ethereum. We're not talking about Solana, Avalanche, and BSC. So how do we want to solve this problem? We want to essentially streamline the process of the transactions. We want to allow transparency on the blockchain and allow users to have the best on-chain settlements. Again, why now? We want to seize the opportunity. I think it's a great time to, build sophisticated software and infrastructure like this and actually add to the, blockchain and allow it to be more transparent for users. Again, our market fit and achievements. So we actually have our MVP live. As I said before, we've processed over 2,000 transactions. We've started to build relationships with key players in the transaction distribution chain like Titan Builder, DiceX. And we also have early users who want to adopt our technology. And again, timing. I believe that with more volume on the space, there's going to be more need for operators like us to provide, sophisticated and high frequency trading in infrastructure. Again, the market size is a very big market size. Again, $5 trillion in trading volume annually. So there's always opportunities for companies like us to provide solutions. Our competitors and what differentiates us and makes us different. We are trying to focus more on AI. So we want to integrate AI into our infrastructure to allow us to see transactions differently and process them differently. A lot of our competitors are more focused on atomic strategies. We want to focus on AI strategies going forward. We're currently doing the research for this. And I think that's the main things I wanted to say. Just in terms of our round, we actually have 3 soft commitments currently. And we are looking to close them probably by the end of the month. And we want to make sure that, I just wanted to, kind of use this opportunity to, speak to like-minded people and get some questions so I can, answer them.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tim, for the pitch. Yeah, guys, please feel free to ask your questions. You can put it here, text it here in the chat, or just raise your hand. Yeah, meanwhile, as always, if you want to connect with our speakers after the call, here in the chat, you can find the contact details. We've got a question. Great pitch. Thanks for sharing. Since you already have 2,000 profitable transactions, how do you plan on scaling that volume without running into bigger MEV competition?
That's a very great question. So those 2,000 transactions were actually for us to test to see is our infrastructure able to actually take on these transactions. And we did this on Ethereum. Ethereum is the most competitive blockchain to actually compete with. We were competing the likes of Jump Trade and SPC Fund and massive MEV operators. So the fact that we were able to get our transactions on chain was a big win for the team. How we actually want to scale is just more volume. If we can operate on Solana, if we can operate on more DEXs, if we can add more strategies to our infrastructure, we can obviously scale at a larger volume.
Thanks. I think it answers the question. Next one sounds interesting. With a daily trading volume hitting 1 million, how do you see your infrastructure evolving to maintain speed and efficiency as the DeFi space grows?
That's a very great question. Thank you so much for that. So again, it's just optimization of our infrastructure. So one of my my CTO, he's focused on optimizing with Rust. So Rust is like the key language or the main language you use for speed and optimization and efficiency. So we're constantly researching to see how we can make our infrastructure more robust going forward. In terms of like speed, again, that's down to latency and making sure our code is always also robust and making sure that we can look at what our competition is doing as well. I think one of our defensibilities is that we are fully based on Rust. Our system is kind of very unique in the sense that we're built on top of the Rust node. So there's something called Ref, which is an extension of the EVM. And we're built on top of that. So in terms of efficiency and speed, we have got our transactions down to like a millisecond, which is very, very competitive. And we've done this on Ethereum. We haven't even touched Solana, we haven't touched Avalanche or BSC. So yeah, there's a lot in our roadmap that we're looking to achieve. But yeah, we look to compete on the highest level.
Thanks. I'm curious about your roadmap. What's the next big milestone you want to hit, and how do you plan to sustain the momentum?
That's a very great question. So our next roadmap is, again, adding more functionality to our infrastructure. So we want to give the ability for users to actually start trading on our infrastructure. So for example, we want to allow, one of our key things is trying to focus on other, what we do is search. So we search for transactions on chain. There's a lot of searchers who don't have the infrastructure or the knowledge to actually build these infrastructures. So what we want to do is actually provide them with the infrastructure to use and allow them to not have to spend the cost or take the time to actually research to build this. So what we're doing is actually allowing people to use our infrastructure. And that's the main thing we're trying to achieve in the next 12 months. And on top of that, we're actually adding more functionalities, like I said, adding more DEXs, adding obviously a faster infrastructure, obviously in the backend side. And again, I think that's the main things we want to try to achieve in the next 12 months.
Okay, thank you so much. Do we have more questions?
Yeah, I have one. Thank you so much, team, for coming. It's a pleasure talking to you. I got questions. So could you elaborate on the business model of the project? It's really interesting how it all functions.
Oh, yes. Great question. So we have, maybe I'll call it 3 or 4. So the main one is also, I think the main one is essentially focusing on, extraction ourselves proprietary inside. So we have our own proprietary technology and I have our own strategies in-house. So we would have our own system running. Another model we would have, business model, would be obviously a SaaS model, allowing other searchers, institutions to use our infrastructure. So we'll provide them a license to use it, so they pay a monthly fee. And then, and I think the third one would be allowing other users, and we'll consult with other people to build their systems as well. So we can build custom systems for other people. So again, we'll just charge a consultation fee and build out for them.
Thanks for explaining that. I got another one. So what's your target audience and what is the size of your potential market?
Yes, so I'll say our target audience would be DeFi traders, institutions, people who want to use high frequency trading infrastructure. So again, that will go down to like your traders, your proprietary traders, your hedge funds. And in terms of our market size, it's actually kind of huge because again, I mentioned earlier, our trading volume on average is about 5 trillion, every year. So in DeFi, that's going into hundreds of billions. right? So we know that there's a market for I'll call it more efficient trading, because again, I go back to the reason why I built this and wanted to tackle this problem is I don't want to send a transaction and it costs me $700 if I'm only sending £500 worth of, for example, from buying the meme coin. If the meme coin is $500, why am I spending $700 for transactions? Because there's a high network congestion. So we want to like build an infrastructure that allow it to be cheaper for people to use going forward.
Right on, thanks. And are there any regulatory and maybe legal issues you may face?
Definitely. I think there's a difference between good MEV and bad MEV. So good MEV is like, you know, you have your arbitrage, which is cross-dex, cross-chain. But what is bad is what you call sandwich front running. So we're trying to be on the good side and focus on more on, you know, good ethical MEV. And making sure that we don't, you know, make users have bad experiences when trading on chain.
Okay, got it. That last from me. Thank you so much for answering all those questions. Malika, do you have something to add?
Not really.
Okay, so let's conclude today's meeting. Thank you so much, team, for your time. It's a pleasure having you and listening to you answering these questions. Thank you so much for coming. Good luck, man.
Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, guys, reminding you real quick, you can find all the contact details by scrolling up in the chat with their, TG handles, emails, and whatnot. It's all in there. And also, if you want to participate in our next calls, just feel free to fill the form for participation that we just posted right now in the chat. There's also a feedback form. So yeah, thank you so much for coming. Malika, thank you for conducting this call with me. Have a great weekend. See you next time. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye-bye.